May 2007, the year Irreplaceable by Beyonce reaches number 1 on the Billboard 100. 4Kids' dub of One Piece is airing on Toonami, and meanwhile, a little show called Lucky Star and Code Geass is popping up on internet image boards. Hideaki Anno finally confirms the titles for his remake of Evangelion trilogy, while later that year in the September issue of the Japanese Rolling Stone magazine unveils the first key visual for the film. The Rebuild of Evangelion has its seeds planted going back as far as 2002, with Hideaki Anno finishing up his Cutie Honey OVA and live-action Cutie Honey movie. The films 1.0 and 2.0 have a good reputation, while 3.0 has been heavily panned by Western audiences, especially those on the internet at large. I ask you, why has 3.0 been so heavily panned? Why is 2.0 so well regarded? And why are these films so important? Evangelion 3.0, the new movie, with the Q meaning quickening, released on November 17th, 2012, distributed by Funimation February 2nd, 2016. The follow-up to the previous film Evangelion 2.0, with a critic from the Los Angeles Times calling the film the most beautiful depiction of war ever rendered on film. My question to them right now is, buddy, have you watched Mobile Suit Gundam 0079? Has won many awards, being nominated for the Best Animation of the Year, winning Excellent Animation of the Year for the 16th Japan Academy Awards, and winning the 17th Japan Media Arts Festival Prize for Animation that year. Though my question is, why is Evangelion 3.0 not well regarded? To boil it down, it's that everyone is confused with what is going on in the film. Spoilers, clearly. Evangelion 3.0 starts 14 years after the events of 2.0, when Kaoru stops Shinji from starting Third Impact. When I was 14, it was popular at the time for people to put laundry detergent inside their mouths, trying to eat it. People genuinely took this seriously. No joke. Asuka now has an eye patch. Rei does not remember Shinji, and there's this new group called Wele with people who used to work at NERV, led by Misato, who are fighting against NERV? Kaoru loves Shinji more than ever this time around, though that can't be said about Kaoru's death. Could the reason 3.0 is so confusing is because Kara might have scrapped 3.0 halfway into production, causing the issue of the brand new concepts being introduced for the film not being developed? This rumor came about because of a 2010 illustration by Yamashita showing Mari's and Asuka's relationship, plus the 2011 Sendai earthquake possibly causing production changes. Dragon Ball Kai, known in the States as Dragon Ball Z Kai, never aired episode 98, the epilogue to the Cell games, where Trunks finally returns to the future, and during the production for the film From Up on a Poppy Hill by Hayao Miyazaki, the same earthquake caused the film to be 50% completed, otherwise been over 70% completed without the disaster. At best, this could mean this film had slight bumps for its production, and at worst, this could be the cause for the film ending up as it did, though none of this has any substantial evidence. With no questions, Evangelion 3.0 is a beautiful film, and a decent one at that, with many visual callbacks to the previous Rebuild films. Though still, this film is only one part of an incomplete film series. Evangelion 2.0, the new movie Break, released on June 27, 2009, with Funimation's announcement they got on hold to the rights to the film at Otakon 2010. 2.0 won first place in the animation category of the French Liaison Asian Film Festival by audience vote. This film can be said to be the second best Evangelion media product, only being beaten out by End of Evangelion, which in and of itself would be a tough film to beat. Taking place immediately after 1.0, this film introduces us to the characters of Asuka, namely Shikiyami, which this is a small name change which separates her from a Neon Genesis Evangelion counterpart, and presenting the newest character, Mari Illustrious Makiyami, who would come to take some of the most iconic moments of Asuka, like how in the fight with Zoro, Mari takes over as pilot of Unit 2 and is the one to push Shinji back into his role as a pilot, and Asuka takes Toji's role as the pilot of Unit 3. From Mari's introduction, these films properly establish their separation from being any other contemporary compilation anime film series. Compilation films have existed for the longest time, all the way back rooting in the idea of home media. Some of the earliest examples of these comes from Walt Disney, who created so-called package films, which were a collection of some of his most popular works. In anime, these films are mainly used as to make a quick buck from its pre-existing audience as to get as much money as it can before a new installment in its franchise. This all can be rooted back to the success of Battleship Yamato. The film Space Battleship Yamato 1977, or Space Cruiser Yamato, created the market for the compilation anime film. Being a recut of the same anime series of the same name, it came out the same year as Star Wars came out. The film became a smash hit, becoming the best-selling anime film in the box office for 1977 Japan, like Ashita no Joe, which used its compilation film as a way as to get a general audience as to get to know the story for Ashita no Joe 1 for the newly incoming series Ashita no Joe 2. Mobile Suit Gundam, for example, released 3 compilation films starting from March 1st, 1981, with the third and best film in the series releasing on March 13th, 1982. Those films became the venue as to fully create what the original vision for Mobile Suit Gundam was to be. Without those films inspiring the creation of Macross, we would not have Hideaki Anno and his friends going over as to work at Tatsunoko Productions on Macross and Do You Remember Love, and them making Daikon 4, the sequel to Daikon 3, and forming Studio Gainax, who would go on to produce Neon Genesis Evangelion. Evangelion 2.0 is what these compilation films should strive to be, not just be a recap for a TV series, but as a venue as to explore new ideas that had been cut, and a way as to tell a new story. Evangelion 2.0 is so well renowned for its changes, without the inclusion of the new Berserk mode, without Mari, and without its weird but cool ending. These Evangelion films would have ended up just being a glorified remake of the original series. Evangelion 1.0, the new movie Prelude, came out on September 1st, 2007, with Baccano and School Days premiering that same season. Gurren Lagann still airing on TV Tokyo, with episode 23 airing on September 2nd, one day after the premiere of 1.0. What are you meant to be when you are the first film of a compilation series? Should you just reuse pre-existing footage as to recap the audience? Or should you start from new as you are meant to be a new series? To be or to not to be is the opening phrase of Act 3 of Scene 1 of William Shakespeare's Hamlet. Act 3. Acts of 3. Star Wars originally had 3 films acting as its 3 acts. Those 3 films were then followed by the first scene being shown in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the new start to the prequels. Typically, before the first scene in a play, there is a prelude. A prelude is what Evangelion 1.0 is called, as 1.0 is the prelude as to the new series that it sets up. Evangelion 1.0 is so important as it's a general recap of the first 6 episodes of Neon Genesis Evangelion, with new scenes added in to help as to get a general understanding of what's going on, and setting up the goal of the people who work at NERV to save Lilith, the representation of humanity. The Rebuild of Evangelion is a marvel in the current anime landscape. Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 has been in production since 2015, released in March 8th of 2021. Hideaki Anno went from directing a commercial failure of a series that almost took its studio with it, to being able to direct 2 of his childhood favorite series in his own vision, with Shin Godzilla and the live-action Cutie Honey movie. The Rebuild series has allowed the creation of a literal anime expo that allowed the world to see what anime is to become. The Carl Animator Expo is what those 1960 previews of the future is to anime, a glance at the future. These films is what currently represents the current anime landscape. And the rebuilds are the rebuilds. We must embrace it. We must accept the rebuilds.
오메데토. Feliz jueves.
Congratulations.
Felicidades.
축하합니다.
Gratulujem.
축하합니다.
Felicitări. बहुत बधाई.
Gratulalo.
Tahanina.
Gratulerer. Nos félicitations.
Congratulations.
Thank you all. Congratulations, Evangelion! Osoweeb is stuck deciding what comes next. Who is Joe? Have they finished those scripts? They should not need to put too much effort. Why is everyone wondering about an egg? I need to be done. Will anyone get to the end of this? Next time on Osoweeb's anime show.
We'll give you plenty more fan service next time, too.